Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Sprites of Life podcast. I'm Lucas.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
So glad to have you guys back for another episode. Boys, how have your weeks been? How you doing?
Ooh, hectic as all, but we're here.
Hectic as always. Ugh. Don, you?
I've been all right. Went and did some stuff for Mother's Day, visited the family, been playing a lot of Oblivion. So I will say I do still think we should do an Oblivion episode soon.
Maybe the
I
next one. Maybe I
promise I will
I
play
have to get
an
on.
Oblivion.
Play Oblivion. That's
Okay.
not just for Chris. Everyone go play Oblivion.
So really quickly for this episode, I feel like I guess I should start up asking y'all, who is your favorite starter?
Just in general? Oh,
Yeah,
Gen
Gen
1.
1. Let's go with Gen 1.
I
Squirtle.
wanted to do Charmander, and then I got to Brock and said no, and went back and picked Bulbasaur.
You
Many such
coward.
cases.
I mean, that's kind of been like the debate, like who's the best starter. That's been going on since 1997. Who's the best one to pick, for what reasons, and why. And years ago, I compiled a long and well established list of which starters would be the best. But things change, time goes on, and now I have you two to discuss it with. So I thought we would bring it back. Today, we are starting the first of hopefully many starter showdowns. So I'm thinking we pull together the Gen 1s. I've come up with a system where we can actually talk about which is the best, not just with fighting, with a few other categories as well, because I don't think people will take into account what it actually means to take care of an animal. But more on that later. For science news, I'll be honest, it's hard to find like decent science news that isn't involving somebody getting defunded. Today, NASA satellites showed Antarctica had some interesting behavior when it comes to ice. Now,
Did they find bears?
no, God, they'd have to change the name. Um, they did find they did find something weird. Antarctica has gained ice.
Was it some sort of I was gonna make a thing joke right there, but you answered it too fast.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they did find this one dog on the ice, though. They took him away. They put him on a
Oh yeah,
helicopter.
was
He's
it
fine.
nice? Was there some Norwegian dudes chasing in a helicopter by any chance?
Yeah, he didn't make it. He was just screaming like a lunatic, and they just, I don't know, man. We just took the dog. Good dog.
Yeah.
Weird dog. Good dog. But no, they did find for some weird reason that there is more ice in Antarctica. And the reason I wanted to pick up this story is because this is going to be the article that people use to be like, aha, there is no climate change. The ice is back up and running, baby. And all the scientists in the article, if you actually read it, are like, yeah, no, we had weird, freakish weather here that caused more precipitation, and thus we got more ice. Actually, they made a handy dandy little chart to make that a whole lot clearer. So this happens on occasion where you'll just get a whole lot of precipitation when you really shouldn't have. There are blips in any system, but you'll notice that the ice has been going down so much that any increase at all is like, wow, it went up. Like, yeah, but like nowhere near what it should be at this time. Uh, I don't know. It reminds me of like, when a stock is like falling and there's like a little blip of like where it's growing. I think that's just the blip. Either way, I just wanted to bring it up because
This
people are when
this
they talk
chart
about
is
climate.
like it looks like someone just like drew on it. Like it's obviously like very professional, but it also looks like a science project in high school.
Like someone just scribbled on it.
That's what, like that's just like I guess it's just like the color of the data points. Like it's like bright blue and like the neon green, the neon blue. There's a lot of colors.
Okay,
I've been
okay.
yelled at for my chart design on lab reports before.
What did you do? This?
Bad colors. I was told they didn't like my colors, or then I left things uncolored, and that was also unacceptable.
Okay, so if you would like to blame somebody, the image is credited to Science China Press.
Okay.
That just like it wasn't like the scientists. It was literally like the press from one group in China decided to take a stab at it. And I'm guessing they liked green, reds, and okay, admittedly the light blue I don't care for the light blue.
I think honestly, yeah. If it was not that light blue, it would be better.
Yeah, that's the thing that throws me off. It's the light blue.
Yeah,
Okay, again, I wanted a nice, simple story, one that's pretty chill,
we're getting into some
doesn't bum.
creative design stuff now.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want to get bummed out because Science Newt is hard. So let's go on to gaming. I'm sure that won't bum me out at all. Well, did we have any weird fights in Pokemon recently? Any weird like teams that came into comp recently?
Um, so there was we did have the first regional of Regulation I, which is the first our double restricted format. It was won by Andrew Ding, really good player who knocked me out of Players Cup 2. He was running a team of Miraidon, Lunala, Grimmsnarl, Urshifu, Water, Incineroar, and Ursaluna. And that six is sort of a reoccurring theme from the weekend. We saw a lot of teams. Miraidon really had a strong showing. I think of the teams in top eight, seven of them had a Miraidon on them. Yeah, it was mainly paired with either Ice Rider or Lunala. Also, lots of teams with Grimmsnarl and Redirection as well. I think part of this is when you have Pokemon that are great big giant balls of stats, particularly when paired with something like Lunala, who, its ability reduces the damage from the first hit. That when you're stacking with like screens from Grimmsnarl, pivoting from Incineroar, and Urshifu is a really strong combo. And then you have most of these teams had sort of a fast mode with Miraidon and Urshifu or other things like that in the slow mode. I said Ursaluna was a big winner, just sort of running through the teams in top eight. I think one, two, three, four, five of the teams had a redirection Pokemon, primarily Volcarona, or Ogerpon, and one Amoonguss in there. We had some really cool teams though. We had Ho-Oh top cut and did very well. My friend Adi got ninth with Ho-Oh Miraidon, and I think there was
Yeah,
another
okay.
Ho-Oh.
I remember months ago when I said use the Firebird, you all yelled at me and said Ho-Oh bad. What
I
happened?
was a
What did I do
doubter.
wrong?
So Ho-Oh matches really well into a lot of common. It's really good into Koraidon. It's solid in the Ice Rider. Sacred Fire is really good, and Ho-Oh has a cartoonish special defense stat. So things like Shadow Rider, it kind of can just eat Astral Barrages for breakfast. I think it takes like four Astral Barrages to KO a Ho-Oh. And
Jesus.
when you're running a Pokemon with Regenerator, you kind of just don't care about taking chip damage because you switch right back out. But yeah, so the big winners really we saw a ton of fast mode within a Trick Room mode with Ursaluna. That was another reoccurring theme, just sort of scrolling through the list looking for other interesting teams. Ho-Oh is probably the best Ho. I think this might be the best Ho-Oh has ever been. We also had some. So mainly, it was.
Not even during Gen 2. It's better than it was during when it first came out.
I think it honestly might be. I did not play any competitive Pokemon in Gen
Actually, you
2
you know
because
what? It probably is it probably is for the pure fact that it has Regenerator now.
having Regenerator, having Sacred Fire now actually being a physical move, having the option to Terra out of it. There's also not a lot of rock coming around. I do think Ogerpon Cornerstone is probably going to pop off because we saw a lot of Volcarona do very well as well. And having a strong rock attacker right now, I think, is probably pretty strong. Won't spend too much time on it. We had one Terapagos in top eight and another Terapagos in top 16, which honestly, I did not think Terapagos would do as well in double restricted because it's kind of a Terra hog. But paired with some restricted that don't really want to Terra as much, I think is pretty acceptable. We did see a Ditto in the top 16. Ditto kind of popping up when there's double restricted because you basically get a third restricted is very fun. Joel, also known as Pokeaim, who's a big, I think he's primarily a singles guy. He got top eight, and he was also running Ho-Oh Miraidon with an Iron Bundle as well, which was pretty cool. So two Ho-Ohs in top 16. A lot of Lunala. Lunala and Miraidon kind of being the big combo that we saw emerge here. Zamazenta Shadow Rider was the most common team, and I don't think there was even one in top 32. I think Miraidon complements a lot of restricteds very well. It doesn't have to Terra even with its weakness. Wide Guard's very useful. Moongeist Beam hits really hard. It's got a useful speed stat. It's got useful support. It's a very good I think I said before, it's like a big winner. Just kind of scrolling through the teams. Like I said, lots of Miraidon plus other thing. Miraidon's also been very splashable.
Yeah, I mean, its terrain ability doesn't, like, make anyone's abilities worse, so
And the
or
only thing
sucker,
is
it's fine.
you don't get to click Spore.
That's yeah, I mean, yeah, a benefit. I hate Spore, so I'm good.
You're just scrolling to see if we have any funky stuff. We got another Ho-Oh team at 39th, with another Miraidon Iron Treads, which is cool, and also the exact same team also got 40th. I'd imagine they built together. Trying to find anything real funky here still in the day two type. Zamazenta Miraidon, something you don't see too much. A lot of Lunala Coridon, Lunala Miraidon mainly. Zamazenta Miraidon again with an Entei. That's kind of fun. Some of those. Brute Bonnet continues to be good. We had a very, very aggressive, still in day two, 8-3, with team with I kind of like this. I like this team. We have Coridon, or sorry, not Coridon, Shadow Rider, Kyogre plus Ditto. And we have a Necrozma Dawn Wings plus Alcremie,
How far
with
did
a
they
record of
make?
8-3. They went 8-3, so they did make day two and won, I think, at least one game in day two.
Hey, I'm glad some weirdos made it through the mix. The only other news I had, which to be honest, I'm glad you had a nice note to mix in with this, is that people got their hands on like the new agreement we have to settle with Nintendo. And have y'all seen this or read this so far?
Are you talking about the bricking, remote
The
bricking?
right to brick your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I put this? The Verge wrote an article. I'm just gonna read it. Previously, the agreement called out the usual suspect driven activities. Users are not allowed to lease, rent, sublicense, publish, copy, modify, adapt, translate, reverse engineer, decomp, or disassemble any portion of the Nintendo Active Service account. The new agreement is expanded to include two additional subclasses, basically involving like modifying your Switch, and
Mhm.
they hold the right to, if they find it, they can go ahead and just break it. They can just say, no, your Switch doesn't work anymore by pressing a few buttons, which is, I'll be honest, I think that's some scummy tactics. I think that's awful. I believe that when you buy something, it's yours. Like when you buy something, it should be yours. Now, if you're modifying it to cheat when playing a game against a bunch of other people, of course, that's wrong. That's bad. But if I'm modifying a Switch because I want to kind of use it to have some fun making something else, or maybe I want to like play it a little bit better, higher definition, and I know how to do that, you should be allowed to. I don't know. Am I being too much?
I don't know how they're truly going to enforce this, other than like being able to physically check switches at something like a tournament, but that's also very restrictive to like specific games. And
I mean, they could, I guess, if you're connected to the internet when they put out updates, those could sort of.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. It feels like it's more trouble than it's worth for them, you know? Like, I feel like this has more bark than bite, but maybe that's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, someone was pointing out the second they brick somebody's Switch, whatever lawsuit comes out of that is going to determine the next steps.
Yeah.
Because if it causes a lawsuit and if it causes a big enough stink, Nintendo only cares about its reputation. So if you can find a way to like, if it gets dragged down too far, they'll find a way around it. That's the only thing that you can make Nintendo behave is they're like, hey, your reputation as being everyone's favorite guy is going down. Either that or just take their money away. Either two. Usually the second one. But no, I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid, and I think it limits when you own a console. I believe you should be able to do what you want with that console, so long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's freedoms or liberties. That's just me.
Out of curiosity, are you allowed to Oh, well, so that's the so like there's the Apple one where it's like you can mod an iPhone, but you void a lot of things when you do.
Hmm.
Like they're not gonna brick it, but they're also not gonna help you if something bad happens.
And see, that's fine. That makes sense. That's like, hey, if you're
Yeah, I'm
messing
fine
around
with
with it,
that being just voiding your warranty. That makes sense.
yeah, I don't want to have to pay for the thing you tried breaking open like a nut because you were trying to figure it out. But like, no, you shouldn't be able to say like, "Hey, you changed the thing you bought from us. Now you can't work with it anymore." I think that's awful. Hopefully, this will lighten up. Hopefully, Chris, you're right. There's more bark than bite. For now, we have some Pokemon to discuss. Now, if someone said that a Pokemon was the best, any Pokemon, how do we categorize best?
From the starters, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, like in
Or just in
general, what
general?
does best
Okay.
Pokemon even mean? Like in any
Uh,
Pokemon.
well, so I feel like there's part of it. There's obviously the battling aspect.
Okay.
Like that's going to be a big part of it.
I feel, yeah, no pure stinking brute force. I feel
I
like that
think,
would
but
be
I think too, because battling is also so.
That alone is very because you
uh
could argue if you mean like official format, competitive type of stuff, or if you
That's what I was
mean
gonna. Yeah, so I think we have to limit it to like the gym lineup. Like which one helps you get through the gyms the best.
okay, so like just for this standpoint, we'll work it so it's not like just a competitive scene, although we can kind of factor that in a little bit, but not the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like that's the other problem. Everyone who focuses on this topic, this argument's been done forever, which one's the best, and it's always done to battle. I think there should be more. Let's treat this like reality. Let's say you literally did have to care for this thing. It can go in a Pokeball, sure, but eventually it's going to get hungry. Eventually it's going to need training. Eventually you're going to stop battling, the credits will roll, and now what do you do with it? I think that should be what we're working with. So I think we need a proper system. Luckily, I was able to build one. I think that'll match everything we're looking at. So with this new system, we have 4 categories. Everything is scaled between 1 through 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. And I'm thinking we start with battle potential, where it's basically, can you take out your opponents in your own region? Like, can this Pokemon just sweep the competition, or does it need a whole lot of help from other Pokemon to make it through? The next one, I'm thinking, again, we have 2 people out of 3 who've done some kind of animal care work. So I think how hard it is to care and feed for these Pokemon while you own them would be a pretty big issue. The games touch on this a
that's
little
definitely a
bit.
consideration when you're looking at these sort of animal husbandry. So yeah, I would argue that in this case,
Yeah, care and maintenance needed. I mean, the other thing is like the Pokemon touches on it a bit. Like you can't just have a Mewtwo. You have to actually be able to be strong enough to like deal with it when it's at a high enough level. And I don't know, some Pokemon are easier to care for than others. So I don't know, let's call it child friendliness, I guess. Could
Mhm.
a new trainer, 10-year-old or otherwise, handle this thing? Like if I gave this to a noob trainer, would he have his hands bitten off in 5 seconds, or would he be able to kind of make it? The last one, I don't know, call it utility. Because, like, yeah, it can fight, but can it cook your dinner and take your kids to soccer practice? Can it do anything else besides violence?
I think Mr. Mime's the only one that can do that.
Hang on. I will
I think
always
that
stand.
is. Oh, go ahead.
Now, Mr. Mime is like a low key. If anyone's like, I would have one Pokemon in this world, Mr. Mime's in my like top 3 because legitimately that dude can cook, and I would love to come home to a home cooked meal by my Pokemon. That just sounds nice.
How dark is it if Mr. Mime has to prepare other Pokemon?
Nah, it's fine. Animals eat other animals all the time. I
He
don't see why
probably
it's a problem.
enjoys it.
Yeah, he thinks about it sometimes at night. That's why he stays awake. All right. So are we good with the rules? The 4 categories, 1 through 5. Keep it nice and simple. Good stuff.
Yes.
Fantastic. I feel like we should start with Pokemon number 1. Let's talk about Bulbasaur. Initial thoughts on Bulbasaur and the Venusaur line. What are we feeling? What are we thinking?
I always liked Bulbasaur, Venusaur. They were my initial ones after my failed run with Charmander ended early. But as I have grown older, I don't know. Venusaur, especially when looking at Blastoise and Charizard, just feels underwhelming.
Even the Megas are a
Okay.
bit underwhelming. A little bit.
You haven't had to deal with Leech Seed Mega Venusaur, and it shows.
All right
I,
then. Let's talk about battle potential
I
then.
was
So
speaking. I was speaking aesthetically, Don.
I see.
Uh,
Yes,
so
aesthetically, he doesn't really have any sort of. Have you guys seen the thing where Stephen A. Smith, the basketball sports
yeah,
commentator guy, people send him other questions, and someone sent him a while ago a question, basically asking him to pick between Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard.
yeah,
Have you guys seen this video?
yeah. It's a
I have
classic.
not seen this video.
Yeah, where he's breaking down basically their different weaponry,
Oh my
and he's
god.
yeah, it's well, he's just like he was just going off face value, and he's like, well, we see here, he's like he doesn't seem to have any claws or guns. He seems a little more limited. to quote him. But I do think Venusaur in appearance seems more limited, but he has a lot of tools. He has by far the greatest access to status moves. As well, when you get into later games, when you factor in abilities as well, Chlorophyll's a really good ability. Sleep, poison, whatever is a very good status. I think Venusaur maybe has the most versatility of the three in
It,
terms of because you can use it as a fast offensive guy. You can go bulky with things like Leech Seed. It's got healing moves like Synthesis. It's got Sleep Powder. You can do a lot with Venusaur.
and if we're looking at the gyms in Kanto, he has the easiest path because you got
Yes, you've got the first three are basically pretty free.
first through a cakewalk, especially pre-psychic Starmie. Um,
Yes.
then you have the Celadon gym, which is grass poison, none of which have any poison moves other than like poison powder. So you're just gonna get like wrapped and binded as much as they can. Fuchsia City, a little trickier, but neutral with all poison stuff. And then
And by
losing
that
stuff
point,
tricks.
you have counters. By that point, you'll
Yeah,
have had plenty of other Pokemon.
you could like Venusaur or Ivysaur, Bulbasaur could like steamroll all the way up to Saffron, where you do not want to throw him against Sabrina.
Agreed. But then
Uh,
that goes. So
yeah,
we know he can fight. We know he has versatility. But what about care and maintenance? I mean, think about it. Unlike the other two we're going to talk about, you're not taking care of one organism. You're taking care of two. The seed on its back is separate from the animal that's walking around. So how do you even start with taking care of something like that?
Well, I would assume that they have a semi-symbiotic relationship. Like the seed provides some level of nutrients, or something like that to Venusaur, or Venusaur's mobility allows the seed to be in a more advantageous, sunlight environment, things like that. So I would imagine it would be too dissimilar from keeping like a fish tank with corals or something like that, where they are multiple organisms, but in a way they're sort of also one. I would assume that Venusaur instinctively has some level of natural preference towards environments that are also good for its flower. So I think the biggest thing would be just not screwing that up. So maybe if your Venusaur shows a strong preference to being in a particularly sunny area or shaded, like maybe just let him do that and sort of let the flower maintenance part kind of be a little bit of his prerogative.
I think that's the smart play. Like the animal knows how to care for the plant, but like for the animal itself, for like the Bulbasaur, it seems like from everything I've seen in the anime and the game, it seems to do fine with just some berries. It doesn't seem to be a very picky eater, and frogs and toads and amphibians are not known for their picky appetites either. So this thing seems like it'd be fairly easy to just get food for, and the flower might even drive food costs down,
I
which is
mean,
pretty great. Not gonna lie, love
Lucas,
that part.
if we're looking at like I think it's the yellow dex entry, it says it can go days without eating a single morsel of food.
Well, then fantastic. Food costs are way down.
Yeah, it stores all its energy. It stores energy in the bulb, and it can live off of that for sustained periods of time.
Yeah, honestly, I can roll with that. I like that. I forget about like how powerful that plant is, but would a child be able to manage it? Like, would do you think a Bulbasaur, like from what I've seen in the Pokedex, I've read through all of them, and Bulbasaur's Lyme seems super chill. Like they want sunlight.
Does seem to be a
Venus,
more relaxed fella.
Yeah,
yeah, like he's chill. Venusaur can even calm emotions of people in Pokemon when it's happy. That's great. Oh my gosh, like that's phenomenal. You're having a down day, like, buddy, how you doing? Venusaur just seeds you up, and it's just like, oh, thank you for this happiness. Oh my gosh. Like sometimes you just need an upper, and Venusaur provides it. I mean, if it does rain, apparently, according to one of the entries, if it rains, the smell attracts Pokemon, which if you're new to the game and Venusaur's just attracting Beedrills right to you just by being in the rain, that might be a problem. I mean, but like overall, it doesn't seem to want to kill or murder anything like on the spot, which is great compared to some of the other Pokemon we'll talk about. But
there
I
is
think that,
one minor bit of thing with Ivysaur though, Lucas. So
oh no.
the bulb is able to fuel Bulbasaur, but it sounds like it flips when it evolves.
Oh, so
It
that
says the
does make
bulb
it a
on its
little more
back
hard.
grows by drawing energy from the body.
So then you have to change up the feeding habits as well. There it
So
is.
at that point, hopefully you're a little bit more practiced
Yeah,
and
hopefully
can
you had
handle
like
it.
a guidebook or something written up. Now comes the creative part. They don't really talk about this in Pokemon. What do you do with a Venusaur when you're done fighting? Like, what can it actually do for you?
Doesn't it benefit plants from my Venusaur entries?
I believe so. I think that's one of the. I know that's a few of the other starters have that similar ability, but aside from that, it doesn't produce any fruit. It doesn't produce any juice. It's got vines
Well,
and
see, the flower on
razor.
its back looks a lot like the corpse flower, so it might also smell like rotting meat.
Uh, it's not
Yeah,
great.
well, it does say in Fire Red that it's a bewitching aroma and that the fragrance
Okay,
but becalms those engaged in battle.
just some aromatherapy,
Yeah, some
in your
aromatherapy.
future with Venusaur.
Yeah, if that's the only thing it can do, that's the only thing it can do. But otherwise, I don't know. I think it'd be really funny to replace like the Walmart greeter with just you and a Venusaur. Just like people shop when they're happy, so just have the Venusaur at the front of the store. It'll do its job just fine. Heck, they'll just pay you to sit around and do nothing. I like that.
I bet it could
All
actually
right,
function really good in like an arboretum type setting,
that'd be
like
nice.
just existing, helping other plants.
Mm-hmm. You can, yeah, you can be an arborist. You can just kind of show up and help plants if that's the vibe you want to go with in retirement. You're welcome to it. So as far as and feel free to argue with me and with the numbers. I think battle potential, give it a 4 out of 5, just because it does struggle towards the end, but it gives you a great start. Care and maintenance, a 3 out of 5, just because of the Ivysaur thing. It would have been like a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, but the Ivysaur flip might be pretty tricky. Child friendliness, I give it a 4 out of 5. I think that even though the Ivysaur flip does happen, and that's a care and maintenance issue, it happens with enough time that you've grown a bit and can figure it out. And
Yeah, you've gotten
utility,
more used to the care.
yeah, exactly. Utility, 2 out of 5, or should I give it a 3? What do you guys think on that one? I'm stuck on that.
I maybe a 3. Maybe that being too generous. I don't know. I feel like overall, you mean outside of battle, just general day-to-day utility?
Yeah, feel like
I don't
I was
know.
originally going to give it 2, but like I don't feel I feel like the aromatherapy thing does have actual practical merit, but it's limited. I'll give it a 3. We'll be nice. It's the number one Pokemon. We have to be nice. And that's fair. So we'll just settle with a 3 out of 5. Overall, not too shabby. All right. So Squirtle, any thoughts?
I like Squirtle.
Nobody hates turtles. Everyone loves turtles. My brother picks Squirtle though. That always made it tricky when your sibling picks the big one, the one you wanted revealed, and it's like, oh no, I can't pick it. Blastoise has had a weird relationship with VGC, right?
Yeah, so of the three, Blastoise has had the least amount of success. G-Max Blastoise had a little bit of appearances in the Sword and Shield era. Venusaur, Mega Venusaur was a very tanky Mega. It had some good results, as well as just straight up offensive Venusaur has been very good in the past. Has multiple regional wins. Chlorophyll, especially with double paired with things like Groudon, it was very good. And then we have things like Charizard, especially Charizard. Really, I mean, it did win LAIC. I think it top cut a recent event as well with Solar Power in the past. The Mega forms, particularly Charizard Y, and the G Max form won multiple events as well and was very, very good. So
Yeah, but
of
as
the three,
far
from a competitive standpoint, Blastoise has had the roughest time.
yeah, with Blastoise though, at least from a gym perspective, like if you're playing in the game, let's see, easy K on the first one, neutral, bad, bad, neutral, neutral, good, good. Not the worst.
Yeah,
They're pretty like that's the balanced gameplay is going with Squirtle. You've actually gotten a chance to raise and work with turtles. So you know firsthand that they're not the friendly little guys that everyone thinks they are all the time.
yeah. One of my professors in college said a long time turtle population study. I've gone out there and done some work with sampling turtles and things like that. They're fun to work with in some ways, but they do not enjoy being handled. They're pretty bitey. They tend to make a mess in an aquarium type indoor setting. They're we really want to be doing very frequent water changes. They're kind of a messy animal. They're not really their fault, just sort of how they are.
No,
Um,
nothing is wrong with any of these creatures for doing what they do. It just how do they deal when dealing with people? Um, from everything I've
they
read,
deal with them by biting.
yes, and that seems to be people's thing as well. This is a predator. This thing hunts things. That's what Squirtle will do. Specifically said that it likes to hunt prey in the water. I'm sure it'll eat whatever Pokemon foods you buy it, but the fact that it enjoys hunting is good to know, since you have to give it some kind of enrichment. For Venusaur or Bulbasaur, it's easy. Give it some sun, and it'll be just fine. But for Squirtle, you'll actually have to find like some place for it to hang out, and then eventually you get a Blastoise. And I don't even want to think about the food costs on that one. Like that just feels like yikes. There's no way you're gonna be able to like just find enough prey or enough things for this thing to hang out and go and consume. I mean, you could always just let it out to go hunt, but at that point in that size, it is just like tearing up the beach, and I'm sure whoever owns that spot of land is probably pretty ticked. But I mean, aside from like care and maintenance, I guess yeah, we can. The food is the only other thing I can think of that's a problem. But like, what would other issues be? Because I
I
got is
mean, I
food.
could not see. I mean, some turtles can be omnivorous. But generally, I feel like they have preferences towards either meat or veggies. Some turtles do get very specific in what they eat. Like some turtles only eat sponges, or more specific. Well, most turtles are pretty generalist.
Yeah, so we don't
I
have to
feel
worry
like from
too
a
much.
food standpoint.
Yeah, so it's not it's an amount thing more than an actual specific thing. But at least nothing in the Dex says that Squirtle is hostile. At least from what I read,
Squirtle
Squirtle and
seems
War
to be a
Turtle.
pretty friendly guy. Well, I don't know. The Squirrel Squad did commit some crimes.
Yes, they committed crime. I mean, everyone has outliers in the group, and
There's
that's just
more
kind of how it
mischief, right?
mischief.
Like
I mean, do you want to call it mischief? I forget exactly what their crimes were.
I think
Does
it
anyone
was just
remember?
mischief.
I think I know they
I don't
became
remember. I'm
firefighters.
currently sorry. I'm on mobile. My laptop is being usually dumb, so it's restarting at the same time, so I can't Google things.
Right.
So a petty theft, vandalism, public nuisance, and causing mischief.
Misdemeanor offenses, still crime, but misdemeanors. I mean,
They were like stealing food and painting graffiti. It sounds like.
yeah. I mean, at least it seems to get along with people, like from the most part. War Turtle, if you believe the legends, can live like a really long time. So they probably would have the patience to deal with a first time trainer trying to find his or her way. Like, I think that would be a really like once it evolves to a War Turtle, whatever amount of time you need to take to get it to Blastoise, that thing's got a long life ahead of it. So even if you never evolved it, you'd still get somewhere with it.
I mean, yeah, most which does track most turtles and tortoises can have a even like the ones that have a shorter lifespan, relatively speaking, have a fairly long lifespan compared to like similarly sized other reptiles.
Even with Blastoids, like as much as you'd expect the creature with literal cannons coming out of its back to be a brutal psychopath, it's only quote unquote brutal when it's in a fight. Like when the fight starts, the switch flips. But that it needs the fight to start. It doesn't pick the fight itself. And I think that would work for child friendliness. I think that actually helps out quite a bit, where it's like it only is going to go aggro when it has to and it's protecting you. And then you have utility, and it's just one word: surf. You just surf. You can go wherever you want, whatever islands, whatever ocean, whatever beach. You have a vehicle, which is pretty great.
Do we know what percentage of the Pokemon world is water?
In
We've
Kanto, it
had
was
people.
a decent amount.
It probably every year
If we're restricting it to Kanto, then that's I guess I think Blastoise gets strength as well though. He's got some moving
Mhm.
rocks for you.
Yeah, move around. And not to mention, if you wanted to go work in like the metal cutting industry, the cannons themselves can just punch through steel.
Excellent
That's
post trainer retirement job. Good.
yeah.
Probably I would imagine it's pretty steady work. Just you and your Blastoise hanging out, cutting some metal. You could get artistic with it as well. I imagine you could do some maybe. I'm not sure how good Blastoise's control is, but you could do some detail work.
You could just join the Navy. I'm assuming that they have some kind of Navy force in
Well,
Japan.
we know Lieutenant Surge has was in the war,
Yeah, he
so
was
I'd
in the
imagine
war.
there's a
Um,
Navy.
There was also a clip from one of the animes that showed a jet fighter racing a Garchomp. So if you have jets, you might have a carrier. And if you have a carrier, you have the Navy. So we have a spot for him in the Army. We have a spot for you, Blastoids, and your trainer. You either get a cushy retirement job at like the steel mill, or you join the military and get to drive around the world with your tank turtle. I mean, overall, this Pokemon slaps like 4 out of 5 on battle potential because you get to carve through most of it. Care and maintenance is the only thing that's like lower at 3 out of 5 because Blastoise sucks to feed, but aside from that, it can do most of the hunting itself. Child friendliness, I'd give it 4 out of 5. War Turtle has the patience to deal with your juvenile like thoughts and fantasies about like being a trainer and actually whip you into shape to be good at it.
Doesn't
and then
his tail give
utility,
you wishes too?
do they? Is
I'm
that
pretty
War
sure
Turtle's thing?
I'm pretty sure War Turtle's tail is wishes.
I
Okay,
thought that
let's
was
see.
Ninetales is curses.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe that's what it was based on, not actual War Turtle.
Yeah, no. Either way, it's just long, fluffy tail. For utility, because you can surf and work for union jobs at a steel mill, let's just go with 4 out of 5. Like 4 out of 5 almost all the way around, which is pretty great.
Wait, its tail has fur on it?
Yes, it's a furry tail.
War Turtle? Yes.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the pleasant thought, but that's what it is. It's a furry tail. I don't make the rules here.
But it also we also have, Lucas, in-game canon that it is a popular pet.
There we go. Fantastic.
So it is
like War
good.
Turtle, Squirtle, or Blastoise.
War Turtle.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. Perfect child friendly, almost perfect child friendliness, almost perfect utility, almost perfect battle potential. It's right on the cusp for some of them, but we got to be fair on that one.
And
Not bad
decent
at
in the
all.
Elite Four, if I remember. Like you don't
Yeah,
like.
I mean you've got Ice Beam, Bruno's got some rock types.
Yeah.
You got
Work.
moves.
And
Yeah.
Ice Beam against Dragonite is clutch.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so you can shred through lands.
No, it's fine. Chris, it's time to talk about the boy you abandoned. You're the trainer who left your Charmander on a rock because you weren't good enough. That's you, Chris.
That's not my Professor Oak did not prepare me enough.
Yeah, Charmander in the rainstorm, that's you. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Professor Oak did not tell me that the first gym was going to obliterate my 10-year-old confidence.
Excuses. You should have got a Mankey. You could have cracked some
Actually,
rocks.
I was like, I was like 8 when this came out. My 8-year-old confidence.
Disgusting. Your weakness sickens me.
That Sandshrew was problematic.
So I'm the guy.
The original.
Who, Brock?
Yeah, Brock was just Geodude.
Yeah, it's Geodudenomics, yeah.
Yeah. As someone who chooses fire types every time he plays, like I still have to play it fair. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, they're awesome. But getting a fire type starter should put you on some kind of government list. Like the second you pick one, you should be put on a registry just because you're literally giving someone like a walking, yapping Zippo lighter. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's battle potential. We kind of touched on it before. It got 2 megas. Like, this thing is the most loved creature in Pokemon by game.
And at Gmail. The other one's got Gmax forms too.
Yeah, no, it got the Gmax form. Like, he got the Gmax form first. And they also got the other ones that got to have their Gmax forms. But even then, only Gmax Charizard was really seen as, like, the most powerful of the Gmaxes. Even in the animated short.
By Sun and getting to have Max Airstream, the most broken Max move, was an excellent combination.
Meanwhile, Blastoise, I'll be honest, Blastoise had the coolest of those forms, like by far.
It did.
We didn't even comment on how Blastoise is the only one that got his own song.
You're right.
Big
That's
man
true.
No, there is a Charizard version too. The guy, it's not nearly as famous.
We also didn't talk about how Blastoise got kind of really screwed over when they got their hidden abilities. Charizard and Venusaur got 2 excellent abilities for them, and Blastoise got Rain Dish, which it's not really tanky enough to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Turtles are fast. You can give it Swift Swim, which would be even better, or just go all out and give it Drizzle. Let it have Drizzle. Let it click Water Spout.
Water
Didn't
spout
Dreadnought get to
drizzle is a
swim?
crime. Yikes.
You can be little Kyogre, it'd be fun. You have support Pelipper, you have mini Kyogre. It's fun. Like
Yeah,
how unlike the one now Sun, it's Groudon but fast in Torkoal.
it's messed up that Dreadnought gets Swift Swim and Blastoise doesn't.
The world's not fair. In any case with Charmander, we talked about Charmander and Charizard have been through quite a bit. Like in the VGC scene, they've been there since like what, the beginning? Like people have been using Charizard?
I do think competitively speaking, Venusaur's probably had the best and longest resume.
Hmm. But like
Well, I'm
not
sorry. I started playing in 2014 when Charizard Y was good, but even then, Chlorophyll Venusaur and normal Venusaur were good. And then in
Hasn't
some formats, in restricted formats in the past, when we had things with double restricted, a lot of the times you would see Venusaur even when there weren't megas. Venusaur got play with and without megas. Charizard, up until recently, was sort of reliant on having a mega or a G-Max to be used, but Venusaur worked well in both forms.
but
hasn't
then when you
Charizard
have to
never
talk about
won a world championship?
Charizard has never won a world championship.
So Charizard hasn't won a world championship in VGC or TCG, and it is the only of the Kanto starters that has not won a world championship.
wow.
It did win in seniors, I think.
Yeah, it won seniors last year, I think.
Yeah, we can give it to him. I mean, in any case, all of that quote unquote success aside, as you've stated, Chris, playing with it in the game sucks. At least against the gyms.
It's so because you
No,
you got rock,
no,
you got water,
kinda.
then like you'll
Yes.
torch Erica.
And then
You're
everyone else beats you to death.
you're fine for the
Koga.
two middle ones. Cinnabar, you're
Yeah.
neutral, and then you'll die again to Giovanni.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
actually,
basically
maybe you won't die because you'll be fine against the ground types, but Rhyhorn and Rhydon, you're kind of screwed
And in
against.
the Elite Four, you have Lorelei, who's got ice and water types. The water types aren't great. A lot of Bruno's Pokemon have Rock Slide, which is not good. Especially in the original game, you don't really have any good flying moves.
and then
I was-
Lance has Aerodactyl and Gyarados.
Yeah.
So you
I wanted to point out though, I said Giovanni was going to be a problem because he has Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Neither of them have rock moves.
Well, then they're not a problem.
Unless Horndrill. Horndrill's normal. So yeah, they just it's normal and ground. So you're as long as you can hit them, you're fine.
I
You
mean,
won't die
it should be
immediately.
worth pointing out that outside of the gyms, nothing can stop you. Like at the beginning, it's all bugs and grass. Just torch them, and they'll
That's
be
why
out of your
Brock
way.
was so upsetting because I just like torched all those bug catchers.
You can tell that they tweaked it because in Fire Red and Leaf Green, I remember this. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, Charmander gets Metal Claw at like level 11.
Yeah.
And
I
then you
think
can clearly they clearly only did that to get through Brock, so people can get through Brock.
because the only other way to do it initially was you had to get like those like the Nidoran, excuse me, the Nidoran who had a double kick was your best bet.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or Mankey, maybe?
Mankey. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Just go and grab a Mankey, and then go back and kick his butt.
That's the sad thing about Brock too is that none of his rock types actually have rock moves, but you can't kill them, and like Geodude just defense curls until you do nothing to him.
Darn shame. Anyway, with actual care of a Charmander, I mean, first off, it needs hot, dry conditions. This thing is basically a lizard. It needs to have someplace warm. It needs to have someplace to keep its tail good. The good news is the tail is a great sign of health. So depending on how high the fire is, you can tell if he's doing good or if he needs more care of attention. You cannot get it wet, which is a huge problem. This region is based on Japan, and there are some heavy raining seasons that may last about a month. Raining days on end constantly. So you can't really take it out of the Pokeball for a walk a good chunk of the year. I mean, don't get me wrong. When it snows, you're good. It'll keep yourself up. It'll be fine. But it needs specialized treatment to keep it warm, even if it is fire. But that's not the worst part. If the anime taught us one thing, this guy is not great.
Well,
when
maybe
it
he just wasn't a big fan of Ash's kind of terrible battling.
He also
Well, like, if you
evolved
look
too fast. He didn't have the badges to earn his respect.
But see, that's a problem. If you're new to this sort of thing, you get this aggressive little fire lizard. The anime taught us that these guys are real jerks sometimes. Like, Charmeleon literally waves its tail and causes the temperature to rise dangerously high. It is so aggressive that it will attack anything it deems a challenge. That's not gonna help. That's not gonna be helpful. Like, if you literally, like, you're walking through the woods, minding your own business, all of a sudden a Metapod falls down and gives you a look, and that Charmeleon's burning down half the forest.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be able to deal with that. That thing is far too alpha. I mean, a veteran trainer could, like, go out into a volcano, pick up a Charmander, and they would know how to raise it no problem. But giving it to a new trainer, Charizard has actively shown that once it evolves large enough, it doesn't care. It's looking for fights on sight, regardless of age. That's a huge problem. You might as well give someone a lion cub to raise as a child and hope for the best. Like, Charizard would be an absolute menace at 5 foot. What is it? 5'3", 5'4"?
I think it's
It's just
5'4".
5'4". Which athlete do we measure him up to now?
How tall is Muggsy Bogues?
I don't know who Muggsy
Muggsy
Bogues
Bogues
is.
was 5'3".
Okay.
So he is
Okay.
as tall as Muggsy Bogues.
Okay. What sport did
Oh no,
Muggsy Bogues?
we sold Charizard.
Muggsy
short.
Bogues played basketball, and he got his talent stolen from him by the Monstars in the historical documentary Space Jam.
Yeah, you saw
Okay,
Space
thank
Jam. He's
you.
the small one.
I don't know. Again, I love Charizard. It's one of my favorites, unironically. It's a cool design. But as far as, like, trying to raise it, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I don't want to have to deal with something pure aggression just ripping through the woods anytime I try and let it out. That's going to get the cops called on you. The one thing that saves Charizard, at least for me, is utility. Like, oh my god.
That's Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bull.
Okay, cool. I'm traumatized a little bit. It's a big dude next to him. Jesus.
And next to a not big dude.
As far as utility goes, it can fly. 5 out of 5. Done.
Yeah, no,
Doesn't learn fly.
I mean, but
doesn't
it
learn
can't.
fly?
Charizard can learn fly,
Not in Kanto.
but, like, Blastoise could
I don't
learn
know if it
surf.
even learns fly now.
Come on, Charizard can definitely nose fly. Charizard can learn fly.
It can learn fly in yellow, not red and blue, but in yellow it can. So it can.
Okay.
And I feel like it could learn fly.
No, it can learn in yellow. Not you're right in red and blue it could not.
I mean, that red and blue was pretty buggy. They probably just forgot to add it, and then yellow let them fix it. I don't know. But, like, I'm counting it. It can fly. And the fact that it can fly fixes so much. Like, you can go throughout the entire region. You can avoid traffic stops. You can avoid paying the toll, avoid biker gangs. You could fly home to mom for dinner. It's an air taxi and a super aggressive bodyguard combined. Plus, you'll never be cold. I don't know what kind of work you'd do, though. Taxi?
Controlled burns.
Control burns. Air taxi. Okay, have either of you two watched Thunderbolts yet, the Marvel movie?
Yeah,
I have not. How is it?
it's good.
I like it. It's fine. I think it's a fine
Yeah.
movie. There's a scene, not really a spoiler. The Red Guardian runs a limo service, and he's just like a washed up limo service. I imagine that's what you, as like the champion, does. Like, hey, I was champion once. Come ride in my Charizard taxi with the Charizard. And it's like beaten, old, and withered after so many battles, and it's just like just coughs up in front of you. Like, I don't know. That's what I imagine with this Charizard being used at this point. Like, it's just a taxi with, like, the former champion, like 12 or 25 years ago or whatever. Like, I don't know. I love it.
But Charizard and I would open like a barbecue restaurant. Then like he'd just get the coals going in the morning, and then we just sort of hang out. We'd cook briskets, and we'd chill.
Leave it to Don to make
Briskets
Charizard a
does raise
brisket
it up.
Pokemon. Charizard,
Bris-
the brisket Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Slow. Hey, buddy. Slow and slow. Low and so that's where the real training comes in. Low
Yeah,
and
it's teaching him to regulate.
like how does he manage such control in battle? And then it'll just flash back to hang on, this brisket. 10 out of 10. Nice work, buddy. I love you so much. Um so battle potential, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 just because while it sucks at the gyms, it can hold its own everywhere else in the main flights.
Yeah.
Care and maintenance. 3 out of 5. I think that's fair.
I would say 2. Like this
You
thing
would
is
say
tricky.
2.
It's tricky to maintain.
Yes.
It's
I mean,
testy.
Don, what do you think? Split the tie, 2 or
I
3.
do
What do you
think
think?
of the three, Charizard is probably has the highest maintenance level. It's the only one of the three with a 4 times weakness to something, so you got to worry about that. And we do know the tail flame, while being a useful health indicator, is also a vulnerable point, so you do want to keep a closer eye on that.
Child friendliness is a 1. I'd give it a 0 if I could. It's a 1. Don't give this to anyone. It should not be a Pokemon you give to anyone. It's awful for children. But
It's so
then,
cute, though.
yeah. But for utility, 5 out of 5. Fantastic. It flies, it cooks your dinner, it can take you to soccer practice. That's all I ever wanted.
It
Fantastic.
can keep you warm.
Keep you warm. There's so much you can do. Again, the fact that it flies bumped it up to a 4 out of 5 immediately. And then, of course, you had the brisket. And then Don just bumped it up another level.
It's also the
Now-
only flying. Wait, is it the only flying starter?
No? Kind of?
Yes.
It's the only flying starter.
Yeah, Decidueye would have barely cut it, but it can't fly. So
They pulled a Yankee swap on the end of that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the wow. That is the only flying starter.
Now we do have one more to go through because technically my first game was yellow. You didn't exactly get a choice. We have to talk about Pikachu.
Pikachu does learn fly. Wait, time out. Pikachu does learn fly, and he is a starter.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, we'll do Pikachu as a starter. We can do Eevee as an entire separate episode because that little fox can turn into too many things for us to even count it. But from a gym perspective, I don't know. Pikachu is one of those Pokemons that like it's everywhere, but people don't know anything about it from a combat standpoint. They know it's cute, they know it's cool, but most people who love it don't realize whether it's a threat or not. Even my uneducated self knows that a Pikachu or a Raichu in the right circumstances can be real clutch in a battle.
Raichu did win the World Championship.
Yes, he did. I mean, Lightning Rod, Fake Out, like just that combination alone, plus Thunderbolt and a couple of other tools in there.
Thunder
They can-
Wave.
Yeah, it can do some
Muzzle.
damage. Muzzle, it does work. As far as gyms go, no, yes, meh, 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 no.
Yeah, it's 2 hard nose, a lot of neutrals, and 1 absolutely torches.
Yeah, Misty hates you. Misty hates this strategy. I mean, like you said, Raichu was a threat. Like, Raichu was a threat in, like, the competitive scene.
Mhm.
But, like, I don't know. There aren't a lot of things. I mean, you're going to fry every Pharaoh and Pidgeotto you come across on your path.
I mean,
But-
Caterpies don't stand a chance either. Like, let's be
Yeah,
real.
but that's just weak defense more than anything else. You can kill a squad
I do
of
think one
Pharaohs.
thing Pikachu has going for it as well is the light ball item, which doubles its offenses.
Ooh,
So
that's
it's still
true.
made of glass. In terms of, I imagine, say, care and maintenance, it's for sure the least. I would say it's less durable than any of them.
But it
the
is
offensive
faster.
output, it's not. It's not that fast.
I mean, a little faster.
Can
Um,
we give Pikachu some perk for the one that has the most outfits? The Pokemon that has the most outfits?
It does have
Oh
the
my-
most outfits. That's key.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like that's the new the next model we put up in the next one is like child friendliness, utility, and fashion.
That's
I mean,
okay. Wait,
in Dark Souls, fashion is the most important stat.
I jumped ahead. I guess that's utility. Uh, it is very fashionable.
Let's go ahead
Does
and
that
talk.
count against you because you're going to spend all of your Poké dollars on fun hats for him to wear?
That's your fault for being poor. He needs that hat. That's your own fault. You should have known better. He needed that. That's properly done. He needs to have that hat. From taking care of Pikachu, needs constant stimulus in order to keep it happy. Like, Pikachu is just nothing but energy, and if you've ever held a pet rodent or had one before, they need a lot of stimulus. They need something to keep them going. In the Dex, it talks about how it likes to cook the berries themselves, and so it just tends to zap them. Multiple Dex entries, though, talk about their intelligence and their need to let loose electricity to not get stressed. What do you give it to zap? Like, just a little lightning rod you stick in the ground, or what would you give it to zap to like get rid of some of that excess energy?
Can I
Maybe like a bunch of LED bulbs so it can light up different colors. Like that might be fun for it.
or like rechargeable batteries?
Yeah, your phone.
Like get my double A charger and just like have it charge up all my double A's.
We should also note that technically, if you somehow got your hands on an Alolan Raichu, you would require some pancakes, but you can just get the mix. You just mix it with some water. You'll find he'll be happy. He'll work with it. I will state, and it's in my notes in all caps, Ash should never have been given a Pikachu. Like, that is probably the most feral creature of all the Kanto little guys you could have possibly given any trainer. Like, Pikachu is a menace. Okay, this is
Mr.
directly
Oak
from the Dex.
didn't want to give him Pikachu, right?
Well, yeah, he shouldn't
Were
have
the
even
other
had
ones
it on
just
the.
gone?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have had it on the table. It shouldn't have even been an option. It should have been like, no, come back tomorrow after we get a fresh stockpile of them or whatever. Okay, check this Dex entry. Whenever Pikachu comes across something new, it blasts it with a jolt of electricity.
It's
Like,
just saying hello.
that's like, a leaf, zap. A new friend, zap. Like, anytime, the world is full of new things. If you take
It's
this
sort of
into
like how sharks figure out what things are by biting them.
yeah, effectively, only this one comes with more nerve damage and less blood. Pikachu will shoot off electricity if it's angry, if it's curious. Even when waking up, the Dex entry talks about how it discharges electricity as it wakes up. And Raichu gets even worse. Because Raichu gets more aggressive the more electricity it has in its body. So, like, if you're getting this thing pumped up for a fight, it's gonna get really, really ticked at anything around it, just looking for someone to shoot it out at. I mean, how do you live with that? Rubber gloves? Suit?
Just wear a suit the whole time.
Just that is going to get you some looks from a crowd I do not want looks
Yeah,
from of wearing an all
you'll be
rubber suit.
alive.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Raichu is like a no. Lieutenant Surge is a lot tougher when you realize that he has to deal with one of those guys just sitting next to him at all times.
Well, Lieutenant Surge is like 11 feet tall, so it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's basically built like a lightning rod. He just absorbs the electricity at that point. Having a Pikachu who can regulate their power, or as far as utility goes, great for charging phones, great for charging lights. If you get the surfing Pikachu, it's transportation. And lest we forget the fashion. Oh, okay. Of all the Pikachu outfits, which one was your favorite?
I'm still a Pikachu Libre is pretty big.
Libre's fun. I do think the like was it like Pikachu Southern Belle version or whatever, debutante or something.
Oh my god.
It learns Icicle Crash, and I think like I vaguely remember there was some niche because you one shot it could one shot like Garchomp with Icicle Crash, and it was a very silly thing you could do.
I gotta give it to Pika Libre simply because he got his own moveset in
That's
Pokken
right, he
Tournament.
did.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have like Pikachu. Oh, then we have Pika Libre. Excuse you, and then it just like I don't know, like slamming people into the ground and like suplexing people. It's got like a tap out move of like 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. I remember that to this day. Pika Libre alone was like worth it. But then they had the Rockstar, they had the Southern Belle. Loved every second of those. So I feel like, I don't know, what job do you get? Do you just have him lead a little fashion model? You just have him model off little Pokemon gear as the champion? That actually might make you some good money.
He'll
You
have
could, yeah, you get into lucrative sponsorships where you charge people for your Pikachu to wear special hats.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he might fry them at first, but like if you trained him well enough to be championship material,
Yeah,
I
you
think
gotta
he'll
get
be
two
okay.
hats, one for him to zap, and then he knows what it is, and he can wear a second hat.
Yeah, like that's what the contract stipulates. I must have 2 of each outfit, one for him to electrocute and the other for him to actually wear. I mean, you could always just work for phone charging off the side of the road. Pretty simple stuff. Think enough of them can. Don't you put enough Pikachu's together, you get a lightning storm?
I
I
I
think
think
mean,
that was
so.
one of the
probably.
early deck entries. I think it was. I gotta go pull it up again because there was a thing of like, yeah, you get enough of these little guys together, they'll set you off. I mean, the other thing we didn't mention because it's a little bit dark is that technically speaking, if you're the champion, you could just kind of use your Pokemon as like, I don't know, for Pokemon breeding. And I think just having a bunch of Pikachus running around might be a real menace of a problem, but it would make you some pretty. Yeah, here it is. When several of these Pokemon gather, their electricity builds up and causes lightning storms, red and blue. It's like the first dex entry.
I
Yep.
Oh,
wonder how often they flock together.
yeah, I do like the
Not
yellow
to the
dex
lightning
entry.
rod, they just absorb the lightning storms. So like that's fine. And then they all
Yeah.
get max special attack.
Okay, here this is hysterical. If it keeps its tail raised to monitor its surroundings, if you yank its tail, it will try to bite you. That is not on Pikachu. That is every animal I've ever met.
Yeah, I think that's
Nope.
just animals.
At
That's just
least it would only just bite you.
And not put a 1,000-year-old curse on you.
Okay. For battle potential, 2 is 2 too harsh.
I think two's harsh. It's like it's solid. I think
3,
actually I think three because it is solid. Well, no, you know what? I would give it a three, but the fact that if we're doing purely the starters, the fact that you can't evolve it limits it.
let's
Yes, I'm
say
remembering a very old, funny YouTube video.
So I would say give it a two because while it should have a three, not being able to evolve it limits its battle potential.
okay, but I'm adding a little asterisk in the video to make sure that people know that it's like it's kind of that. All right, so we have that. Care and maintenance, 2 out of 5. Because yeah, it zaps everything new around it.
I
Which
mean,
leads
he's
us.
a little dude, so your food costs are much lower than the other ones.
That's true. And he cooks the food, which is nice. But at the same time, like the care and maintenance of this thing requires you to constantly be ready to get electrocuted. Like this, that's all it does is discharge electricity. It has no control. But then child friendliness, hey, we're back to a 1. Because no one should have been given this thing. The fact that Professor Oak did it at all showed that he did not care what happened to Ash so long as he got him out of the house. That's it. And as far as utility, I mean, it can surf, and it can fly, it can wrestle, and fashion. The fashion gives it a 5 out of 5. I don't care what anyone says. They can fight me in the comics for all I care. It is
No,
a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, like no other Pokemon is as fly as Pikachu.
Yeah,
Although
no.
Pokemon Unite is giving it a run for its money, but it just has so many looks, you can't top it.
Yeah. Pokemon Unite really did like should open the door to the main console of like, yeah, go on and like actually get a chance to dress up your Pokemon in a fight.
Do you know
I
how
think that'd
much
be
I
a
wish
lot.
you could transfer all the little fun Pokemon from Pokemon Go
Yeah.
into competitive stuff? I would
Actually,
make the various little guys work. If I
do
get a
you want
party hat Blastoise or whatever, I would make it work.
do you want to know what my favorite Pikachu outfit actually is? The one
What?
where it's dressed as Mimikyu.
Oh,
Yes.
I just imagine an actual Mimikyu looking at that like, am I a joke to you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. All right, guys. We are gonna head out, but hey, thank you guys so much for listening. Con season is coming up. We already are confirmed to be at Dragon Con, but like hopefully there'll be some more cons sooner that you guys can check us out in. But for now, we'll keep you guys posted. Have a great rest of your day or night. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.